The doorbell rang at 2 a.m. I opened it to find a blonde woman holding two sleeping children, crying so hard she could barely speak. "Are you Dorothy Miller?" she asked. When I said yes, she said 5 words that shattered my world. "And I'm Howard's wife, too." Behind her in the driveway sat my husband's truck. The truck, he said, was at the shop. The husband who said he was on a business trip, except he wasn't on a business trip. He was in the hospital, dying. And this woman, these children, they had more right to be there than I did. Because what I discovered that night proved my 40-year marriage was the lie, and her 15-year relationship was the truth. My name is Dorothy Miller, and I'm speaking to you from a small apartment in Richmond, Virginia, where I moved 3 months ago after losing the house I thought I owned, the husband I thought I knew, and the life I thought I'd built. That night, that doorbell, that woman standing on my porch with my husband's children. It was just the beginning. Because what came after, the secrets I uncovered, the legal battle I fought, the family that turned against me, it broke me in ways I'm still trying to heal from. But it also woke me up. And sometimes being broken is the only way to become free. Before I take you back to that night, before I show you the double life my husband lived, and the war I had to fight just to prove I existed, I need you to subscribe right now. We're pushing this channel to 10,000 subscribers, and every single one matters. Hit that subscribe button, because this story about the woman who showed up at my door, the husband who had 2 families, and the funeral where I was banned from, saying goodbye will show you that the longest lies are the ones we tell ourselves. And sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It destroys everything first. Let me start 6 months before that doorbell rang. Because the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. It was September. My husband Howard and I were celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary. 40 years, 4 decades of marriage. We'd made it longer than most couples we knew. Longer than either of our parents. We were the success story. The couple people pointed to and said, "That's how you do it." Howard had planned a surprise weekend trip to Williamsburg. Romantic bed and breakfast, nice dinners, long walks holding hands like we were young again. He seemed distracted though, kept checking his phone, kept stepping away to take calls. He said, "We're conducting business emergencies." "Can't you just let work go for one weekend?" I asked him Saturday night over dinner. "I'm sorry, Dot, you know how it is. The company doesn't run itself, Dot." He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "But I'm here, I'm present. That's what matters, right?" I nodded and smiled, because that's what I always did. Accepted his divided attention, accepted that his trucking business came first, accepted that after 40 years, romance meant whatever time was left over after everything else. We'd met in 1983. I was 22, working as a secretary at a law firm. Howard was 25, a truck driver with big dreams and a bigger smile. He'd sweep into my office building to deliver packages and always found an excuse to stop by my desk. Asked me out 7 times before I finally said yes. "Persistence pays off," he'd joked on our first date. 6 months later, we were married. Small ceremony at the church. My mama cried happy tears. His mama said I was too good for him. We laughed about that for years. Turns out she was right. The early years were hard financially but happy emotionally. Howard drove long-haul routes. Gone Monday through Friday most weeks, sometimes longer. I hated the separation but understood it. He was building something, working toward the dream of owning his own company. By our 10th anniversary, he'd done it. Bought his first truck, then 2 more, then 5. Eventually owned a fleet of 15 trucks with drivers working under him. We moved from our tiny apartment to a real house with a yard. Started having kids. Sarah was born in 1985, Michael in 1988. Howard was a good father when he was home. Coached baseball, attended recitals, showed up for the big moments, but he was still gone most weekdays. Sometimes 4 days a week, sometimes 5. That was just our life. The price of success. Do you ever wish he was home more? My friend Barbara asked me once at a church potluck, watching Howard play with our kids in the corner. Of course, I said. But this is what we signed up for. He's providing for us, building our future. I can't complain about that. And I didn't, not for 40 years. Our children grew up. Sarah became a high school English teacher, married a sweet man named Tom, gave us 3 beautiful grandchildren. Michael became a CPA, married his college girlfriend Lisa, had twin boys. We were blessed, happy, living the life we'd worked so hard for. Howard cut back on driving as he got older, spent more time in the office managing the business. But he still kept his Monday through Thursday schedule, still left early Monday mornings, still came home Friday afternoons. "Why don't you work from home?" I suggested more than once. "You have managers now. You don't need to be on the road." "I like keeping my finger on the pulse," he'd say. "Plus it gets me out of your hair. You'd get tired of me if I was home all the time." I laughed it off, but secretly, I wished he would get tired of being away, wished he'd choose me over the business just once. Last year, Howard turned 65, started talking seriously about retirement, about selling the company, about traveling the country together. "Just think, Dot," he said one Sunday morning in bed. "No schedule, no business calls, just you and me seeing America. We could get an RV, do it right." My heart soared. Finally. After 40 years of sharing him with the business, I'd have him all to myself. "When?" I asked. "Give me a year to get things in order, train my replacement, make sure the sale goes smoothly. Then we're free." A year. I could wait a year. I'd waited 40 already. Then came March. The month everything changed. I was doing laundry on a Tuesday morning. Howard had left Monday like always. Wouldn't be back until Friday. I was going through his jacket, pockets before washing, because he always left receipts and coins in there. I pulled out the usual debris. Gas receipts, loose change, a business card from a truck parts supplier. Then I found a folded piece of construction paper. It was bright pink, covered in glitter stickers and crayon drawings. I unfolded it thinking it was something one of the grandkids had made, though I couldn't remember them giving Howard anything recently. It was a birthday card, homemade. The front had a stick figure drawing of a man with Daddy, written above it in shaky child handwriting. Hearts and stars surrounded the figure. Inside, in that same unsteady print, "Happy birthday, Daddy. We love you so much. Thank you for the new bike. Love, Emma, 7, and Ryan, 5, XOXOXO." I stared at it for a full minute before my brain started processing what I was seeing. Emma, Ryan, ages 7 and 5. Howard's birthday had been 2 weeks ago. We'd celebrated on the Saturday before. Family dinner at our house. All the kids and grandkids, cake, presents, the usual. But someone else had given him a birthday card. Children had given him a birthday card. Children young enough to still draw, stick figures and spell, love with hearts for the O's. Our grandchildren were older. The twins were 11. Sarah's kids were 13, 9, and 6. They didn't make homemade cards anymore. They bought them at Target with gift cards inside. So who were Emma and Ryan? My hands started shaking. I sat down hard on the laundry room floor, still holding that pink construction paper. Maybe they were kids from church, but we didn't have young children at our church anymore. Everyone's kids had grown. Maybe employees' kids? But why would they call him Daddy? And since when did Howard buy bikes for employees' children? Maybe it was innocent. Maybe there was an explanation. But something deep in my gut, some instinct I'd been ignoring for years, screamed, "Look deeper." I got up, walked to Howard's home office. He kept it locked, and I'd always respected that. It was his private space, his sanctuary from the chaos of family life. Not anymore. I knew where he hid the spare key, under his desk drawer, taped to the underside where he thought I'd never look. I'd only known about it because I'd found it years ago when I was vacuuming and never mentioned it, never had a reason to use it, until now. I unlocked the door with trembling hands, stepped inside, started searching. His desk was meticulously organized, files labeled by year and client, invoices, contracts, tax documents, all business, nothing personal, nothing suspicious. I opened the drawers, more files, pens, office supplies, a bottle of whiskey he sipped from sometimes when he worked late. Then I opened the bottom right drawer, and I found a phone, not his regular iPhone, a cheap flip phone, the kind you buy at a gas station with prepaid minutes, the kind people use when they don't want things tracked. Why would Howard have a burner phone? I turned it on. No password, no security. The home screen showed missed calls, dozens of them, all from a contact labeled simply home. Not home as in our home. He had our home number programmed as .mobile in his regular phone. This was a different home. My finger hovered over the call button. I should call it, see who answered, confront this directly. But I didn't. Instead, I opened the text messages. The most recent thread was with home. I clicked it. Hundreds of messages, going back years. I started scrolling, reading, my horror growing with each line. "Miss you already. The kids kept asking when you'd be back. Emma lost another tooth. She wants to FaceTime you to show you. Ryan's soccer game is Saturday at 10. Can you make it this time? I love you. Hurry home. Each message signed with a heart emoji. Each message from someone named Linda. I scrolled further back. Found messages from years ago, before Emma and Ryan were born. The baby's kicking. I wish you were here to feel it. Doctor says it's a girl. We're having a daughter, Howard. I can't believe you're missing the birth. I know work is important, but this is our baby. Our baby. Howard had another child. No, 2 other children based on that birthday card. I scrolled back to more recent messages. Found photos. A blonde woman, pretty, maybe 40 years old, smiling at the camera. 2 children. A little girl with pigtails and her father's eyes. A little boy with a gap-toothed grin. Photos of them together. At a park, at a birthday party. Christmas morning with a tree and presents. Photos of Howard with these children on his lap. Reading to them. Playing with them. Being their father. I couldn't breathe. The room started spinning. I grabbed the edge of the desk to steady myself. This was impossible. Howard couldn't have another family. He was with me every weekend, every holiday, every important event in our children's and grandchildren's lives. Except he wasn't. He was gone Monday through Thursday, sometimes Friday. 4 or 5 days every single week for 40 years. Oh God, 40 years. Had he been doing this for 40 years? I forced myself to keep looking through the phone. Found more photos, hundreds of them. The woman, Linda, pregnant, glowing. Howard's hand on her belly. A newborn baby girl, Howard holding her in a hospital room. The timestamp said 2016, 9 years ago. Another baby, a boy, born 2018, 7 years ago. The ages matched. Emma, 7, Ryan, 5. But the photos went back further, way further. I found pictures from the 1990s. Linda looked younger, 20-something. Howard looked exactly like he had back then. Same age, same haircut, same smile. They were at a beach, at a restaurant, in a living room I didn't recognize. In one photo, they were dressed up. Linda in a white dress. Howard in a suit, holding hands. Rings visible. The timestamp said June 1995. 30 years ago. I zoomed in on the photo. Read the banner in the background. Congratulations, Howard and Linda. No. I stumbled backward, hit the office chair, collapsed into it. Howard had married someone else. While married to me, 30 years ago, 10 years into our marriage, he was a bigamist. I sat there for I don't know how long. Could have been minutes, could have been hours. Time stopped meaning anything. Eventually, I stood up, took photos of everything with my own phone, every text message, every photo, every piece of evidence. Then I started going through the rest of his office more carefully. Knowing now what I was looking for, I found bank statements, an account I'd never seen before, regular deposits from the trucking company, regular withdrawals, mortgage payments to an address in Greensboro, North Carolina, 2 hours away. I found life insurance policies, $1 million policy, beneficiaries, Linda Foster and children, Emma Foster and Ryan Foster, not Dorothy Miller, not Sarah and Michael, them. I found property deeds, a house in Greensboro, purchased 1996, owned by Howard Miller and Linda Foster. My husband owned a house with another woman, had owned it for 29 years. I found more documents, tax returns filed separately. Howard claimed dependents I'd never heard of, claimed a home office in Greensboro, wrote off expenses for a family I didn't know existed. He'd been living 2 complete lives, 2 houses, 2 wives, 4 children, 2 sets of birthdays and holidays and family dinners, and I'd known about none of it. I took photos of everything, every document, every receipt, every piece of proof. Then I put it all back exactly where I found it. Locked the office, hid the key, went upstairs to my bedroom, our bedroom, and lay down on the bed I'd shared with this man for 40 years. And I cried, sobbed, screamed into my pillow so the neighbors wouldn't hear. How did I not know? How did I not see it? But I knew how, because I'd trusted him, because I'd never questioned the Monday through Thursday schedule, because I'd believed every business trip, every late night, every excuse, because I'd been a good wife, and good wives trust their husbands. Howard came home Friday evening like always, walked through the door with his duffel, bag and that same smile he'd had for 40 years. Hey, sweetheart, he said, kissing my cheek. Missed you. How was your week? I wanted to scream, wanted to throw everything I'd found in his face, wanted to ask him how he could stand there acting normal when he'd just spent 4 days with them, but I didn't. I smiled back like I always did. Fine. Yours? Long, glad to be home. Which home, I wanted to ask. This one or the real one? We had dinner, watched TV, went to bed. He fell asleep immediately like he always did on Friday nights. Exhausted from his week on the road, I lay awake staring at the ceiling next to a stranger. Saturday morning, he went golfing with his buddies. Or that's what he said. At this point, I didn't believe anything. I waited until he left. Then I called my daughter Sarah. Mom, everything okay? Can you come over? I need to talk to you about something. Something about your father. She heard the tone in my voice. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Sarah arrived with Tom. They sat on my couch looking worried while I pulled up the photos on my phone. I found these in your father's office. I need you to look at them. I showed them everything. The texts, the photos, the documents, the birthday card that had started it all. Sarah's face went pale, then red, then pale again. No, Mom, no. There has to be an explanation. Dad wouldn't. He couldn't. I drove to Greensboro yesterday, I said quietly. While he was golfing, I found the house. His truck was in the driveway. I sat there for 3 hours. He came out with them, with the little boy. They went to the park together. I followed them. Watched him push that child on the swings. Watched him be a father to a child I never knew existed. Sarah started crying. Tom put his arm around her, but he looked devastated too. He'd always looked up to Howard. Called him the gold standard of husbands. We need to call Michael, Sarah said. We called him together, put him on speaker, showed him the photos over FaceTime. Michael was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I'm calling a lawyer. Right now. We're not letting him get away with this. Get away with what? I asked. What crime has he committed? Adultery isn't illegal. Bigamy is, Michael said. He married someone else while married to you. That's a felony in Virginia. He can go to prison. Prison. My husband of 40 years could go to prison. Mom, you need to confront him, Sarah said. You can't let this go. I know. I need to figure out what to say. But I didn't get the chance to plan it. Because that night, everything exploded. I was making dinner when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Is this Dorothy Miller? A woman's voice, shaking, crying. Yes, who is this? My name is Linda Foster. I think I'm Howard's wife too. The room tilted. You know about me? I just found out. I found your number in his phone. I found everything. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know he was still married. Still married? What do you mean, still? He told me he was divorced. Said you split up years ago but stayed friendly for business reasons. Said he still had to see you occasionally because of the company. I believed him. I never questioned it. She thought I was his ex-wife. She had no idea we were still married, still living together, still sharing a bed. How long have you been with him? I asked. 30 years. We met in 1994, got married in 1995, have 2 children together. Emma's 9 and Ryan's 7. Oh God, I've been the other woman this whole time and I didn't even know it. 9 and 7. She'd said 9 and 7, but the birthday card said 7 and 5. Why would she lie about their ages? Unless... Linda, I said carefully. Where is Howard right now? He's in the hospital. That's why I found everything. I was looking for his insurance. Cards, and I found a wallet I'd never seen before. With a different driver's license. With your address on it. So I looked deeper and I found everything. The photos. The texts. The proof that he's been lying to both of us. What hospital? Greensboro Regional. He collapsed this morning. Heart attack. He's in surgery right now. I called his emergency contacts and found your number. I didn't know what else to do. Howard was in the hospital, having heart surgery, and his other wife had called to tell me. I'm coming there, I said. Don't leave. We need to talk. I hung up, grabbed my purse, my keys. Howard was in my golf clothes, came through the door at that exact moment. Except it wasn't Howard. It was just someone wearing his face. Dot, where are you going? Greensboro Regional Hospital. Your wife called. You're having surgery. His face went white. What? Linda, she called me. Told me everything. About the kids. The house. The 30-year marriage she thought was real. All of it. Dot, I can explain. No, you can't. There's no explanation that makes this okay. You're a bigamist, a liar, and I'm done. I walked out, got in my car, drove 2 hours to Greensboro while my husband, my real legally married husband, followed in his truck calling my phone over and over. I didn't answer. When I got to the hospital, Linda was in the waiting room. I recognized her from the photos. She was smaller in person, younger looking, pretty in a tired, stressed way. 2 children sat next to her. The little girl was trying to read a book. The little boy was crying quietly. Linda stood when she saw me. "Mrs. Miller?" "Dorothy, please." "I'm so sorry. I never meant. I didn't know." "I know, he lied to both of us." We sat down. The kids stared at me with Howard's eyes. "These are Emma and Ryan," Linda said. "Kids, this is your dad's. I'm Dorothy," I said gently to the children. "It's nice to meet you. Are you Dad's friend?" Emma asked. "Something like that. A doctor came out before we could talk more." "Family of Howard Miller?" We both stood. The doctor looked confused. "I'm his wife," Linda said. "I'm his wife too," I said. The doctor's eyebrows rose. "I see. Well, Mr. Miller is out of surgery. He's stable but critical. We had to do an emergency triple bypass. The next 72 hours are crucial." "Can we see him?" Linda asked. "Immediate family only, one at a time." "She should go first," I said. "The kids need to see their father." Linda looked grateful. She took Emma and Ryan back, left me sitting alone in that waiting room. Howard's truck pulled into the parking lot 20 minutes later. He burst through the waiting room doors looking panicked. Then he saw me, froze. "Where are they?" he asked. "With you, in your room, saying goodbye in case you die." He flinched. Don't call me that. Don't act like we're still. Don't." He sat down next to me, far enough away that we weren't touching. "I never meant for you to find out like this." "How did you mean for me to find out? Or were you planning to die first and let us figure it out at the funeral?" "I was going to tell you. After I retired, after we sold the business, I was going to come clean." "And say what? Surprise, honey, I have another family?" "I was going to ask for a divorce. Give you everything. Make sure you were taken care of. Then live out my life with Linda and the kids. So I was the practice wife, the one you were with until you could afford to leave." "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like? Explain it to me, Howard. Make me understand how you lived 2 lives for 30 years. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "I fell in love with both of you. I couldn't choose, so I didn't." "That's not love. That's selfishness." "Maybe, but I took care of both families, provided for everyone. Never let either of you want for anything, except honesty." Linda came back before he could respond. She stopped when she saw Howard sitting with me. "You're supposed to be in bed," she said. "I left. I needed to. I needed to talk to Dorothy." "About what?" "About how you lied to both of us. About how you've been living a double life since before our children were born." "Linda, don't." Emma's asking questions I don't know how to answer. "Ryan thinks he did something wrong. That's why you're sick. He thinks it's his fault. I'll talk to them." "You've done enough talking. Done enough lying." Linda looked at me. "Can we talk? Somewhere private?" We found an empty conference room, sat across from each other. "I need you to know I would never have been with him if I'd known he was married," Linda said. "He told me he was divorced. Showed me fake papers. Told me you'd moved on, that you had a boyfriend, that you were happy he'd found someone new. I had no idea you existed until 3 days ago. And I had no idea you existed as anything other than his ex-wife until this morning," she laughed bitterly. "We're both idiots. We trusted him. That's not idiotic. That's what you're supposed to do in a marriage. Except one of our marriages isn't real. Mine isn't legal. You're his real wife. I don't even know what I am. You're the mother of his children. That's real. Is it, or is this whole thing a lie?" She started crying. "I gave him 30 years, raised his children, built a home with him. And it's all fake. All of it." I reached across the table and took her hand. "It's not fake to you. It was real in your heart. He's the one who made it a lie." We sat there for a long time. 2 women who'd been married to the same man without knowing it. United by betrayal. Eventually, Linda said, "What are you going to do?" "Divorce him. Take everything I'm legally entitled to. Make sure he faces consequences." "Me too. I can't divorce him since we were never really married. But I'm leaving. Taking the kids. He'll never see them again if I have my way." "Linda, he doesn't deserve them. Doesn't deserve to be anyone's father after what he's done." I understood her anger, but those kids love him. They need their father. They need a father who doesn't lie, who doesn't have secret families, who doesn't make them complicit in his betrayal without even knowing it. She was right. But I still felt sorry for Emma and Ryan. They were innocent in all this. We exchanged phone numbers, agreed to keep in touch, agreed to share information as we each figured out our next steps. Then we went back to the waiting room where Howard was now sitting with his children. Emma on his lap, Ryan holding his hand. Both kids crying because their daddy was sick and they didn't understand why. He looked up when he saw us. His eyes pleaded for forgiveness, for understanding. Neither of us gave it to him. Linda took her kids and left. Told Howard she'd be in touch through her lawyer. I stayed, not because I wanted to, but because legally I was still his wife. Still his emergency contact. Still the one who'd have to make medical decisions if he couldn't. The doctor came back an hour later. "Mrs. Miller, can I speak with you?" "Both of us," I said, gesturing to the empty conference room. "We both need to hear this." But Linda was gone. It was just me. "Mr. Miller has requested that his advance directive be updated," the doctor said. "He's asked that someone named Linda Foster be listed as his medical power of attorney instead of you. He's replacing me," he says. "He says Miss Foster is his partner and he trusts her to make his medical decisions. I'm his wife, his legal wife. We've been married 40 years. I understand, but he's competent to make this decision. Unless you want to contest it legally, do it. Update his directive. Give everything to Linda. I don't want to be responsible for him anymore." The doctor looked relieved, like he'd been expecting a fight. "There's one more thing. Mr. Miller has also updated his funeral arrangements. He's specified that you're not to attend his funeral or burial, that you're to have no involvement in his end-of-life arrangements." I laughed. Couldn't help it. "He's banning me from his funeral? I'm sorry. I know this must be difficult." Difficult. That was one word for it. I left the hospital that night, drove home to Richmond, walked into the house I'd shared with Howard for 40 years, and I started packing his things. Every piece of clothing, every personal item, every trace of him. I boxed it all up, loaded it into my car, drove it to Greensboro the next morning, and left it on Linda's porch. Let her deal with it. Let her deal with all of it. Then I called a locksmith, changed every lock in the house, changed the garage code, made sure Howard couldn't get back in even if he tried, called a lawyer, the best divorce attorney in Richmond, told her everything. She smiled. "Oh, we're going to destroy him in court. Bigamy, adultery, fraudulent use of marital assets. He's going to lose everything. Good, he deserves to lose everything." The divorce papers were served to Howard in his hospital bed. Linda told me later he cried when he read them, begged her to call me, to ask me to reconsider. I didn't reconsider. The trial took 8 months. 8 months of depositions and financial audits and testimony from people who couldn't believe what Howard had done. In the end, I got everything. The house, the business, his pension, his retirement accounts, everything we'd built over 40 years. Howard got nothing. Well, he got his legal fees and a criminal record and 5 years probation for bigamy. Linda got child support, generous child support, from a man who now had nothing but his income as a truck driver because I'd taken the business. He lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Greensboro now, sees his kids every other weekend, works for his former company as a regular driver. Everything he built, everything he achieved, gone because he couldn't choose, because he wanted both lives, because he was selfish and he got caught. I sold the house. Too many memories, too many lies. Bought a small condo near Sarah and her family. Started over at 62. And you know what? I'm happy. Happier than I've been in years. Because I'm not living a lie anymore. Not pretending everything's fine when it's not. Not sharing my husband with a woman I didn't know existed. Howard died 6 months ago. Heart attack. The doctors said his heart couldn't take the stress of everything he'd lost. Linda called to tell me. Asked if I wanted to attend the funeral. I said no. Honored his wish to ban me even in death. Sarah and Michael went. Said it was small. Just Linda and the kids and a few friends. No one from our side of the family showed up except them. And they only went to support Emma and Ryan, who'd lost their father. I didn't cry when I heard he died. Didn't feel sad. Didn't feel much of anything except relief that it was over. That I could finally close this chapter. So here's what I need from you. If you've ever discovered your partner was living a double life, comment betrayed. If you think 40 years of lies can never be forgiven, comment truth. If you believe some people don't deserve forgiveness even at the end, comment justice. But most importantly, subscribe right now. We're building a community where women's stories matter, where we support each other through impossible betrayals, where we prove it's never too late to demand honesty. Hit subscribe, hit like. Share this with every woman who needs to hear that you can survive anything, even discovering your whole life was a lie. My name is Dorothy Miller. After 40 years of marriage, I found out my husband had another family. He had 2 wives, 4 children, 2 complete separate lives for 30 years. He banned me from his funeral before he even died. But I survived him. I outlived the lie. And I'm finally free. Thank you for listening to my confession.